What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 144. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and we're flying solo today for our return. But if you want to catch this podcast live, you can go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join in the chat if you're a subscriber over there for the live show, join in on the conversation, have fun with us over there. But if you can't join us live, that is a-okay. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, or it drops topic by topic and just put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag add merch store, get all your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we would love you for it. It's been a while, in a way. We did miss last week. Sorry about that. So what have I been up to since the last podcast? If you've been keeping up to date, last podcast we did, 143, pre-recorded, just because we had a move coming up. So I figured to get out of the way. Wouldn't be stressful of trying to fit that in. And, you know, running like a chicken with my head cut off. So pre-recorded that, had a nice conversation about some movies, went through an IMDb list, and then talked about the Marvel movies, and like, oh, what could they do to fix them? And then San Diego Comic-Con was there, and all these announcements happened, and yippee! I mean, all those things look cool that they did announce, but yeah, I was just like, well, that topic's kind of useless now, because they just told us what the plan is. But you can hear me go on a rant there if you missed it. It was a good time. So yeah, topic one today is just kind of housekeeping. What have I been up to since that last podcast recording? I believe that was also my last live stream officially from the old apartment, and then we've kind of been on this 2-week hiatus until tonight as of recording. And for you guys on YouTube, hello, and podcast services, hi. So yeah, we did end up taking a week off in between releases, just to kind of, you know, chill a little bit more, relax, as things have been kind of, not hectic, but nonstop for a little while. As I keep alluding to, we did move, myself and Lady, to a new apartment. Similar layout, well, not layout, but similar scheme, 1 bedroom, you know, yada yada. A little bit more space, a little less storage. And then everything's kind of defined a little bit more into rooms, which is nice, because we get a little bit more division in between me and the live stream setup and the rest of the apartment. It's not like, oh, the stream's going, stop everything, ceasefire, you know, whatever. Because in the old apartment, not that you guys could tell with the setup, but I had the kitchen behind me, and then slightly off to one end, I had the laundry room right behind me. So when recordings were happening, couldn't really do anything like run the dishwasher or go through the laundry at that time, just because the residual noise would have affected the stream setup. So in the new apartment, which we're finally all set in, everything's unpacked. Actually, we're setting up some like decorations today and some artwork, which is really kind of putting the final touches on everything, and it looks really, really nice. I'm excited to kind of tinker with that a little bit more, especially with the stream setup, putting some artwork off camera, but at least over here, to kind of spruce up the place a little bit. But with the new place, having it a little bit more divided, where the kitchen's completely on the opposite side, divided by some walls, along with the laundry room being a little bit down the ways, shouldn't really affect anything, which is more just like a quality of life thing, that it's not this hard stop, nothing can go on, obviously, and me kind of intruding on the day-to-day stuff. So yeah, the move went really, really smooth. We had a nice kind of like overlap period, between the two apartments. The former person here was leaving at the beginning of the month, and obviously our lease was ending at the end of the month. So we had plenty of time to kind of bring over the small stuff gradually, take our time with it. And it kind of helped with the stress levels because, well, there was no rush. So we were able to do that. And then for the big stuff, played it smart, went low stress mode, and just said, all right, let's hire some movers. We'll have them take care of it, move everything. Well, you know, sweat ourselves or worry about, oh, this doesn't fit here, this doesn't fit there. And the people that we went with were great, fantastic, very, high quality, very good at what they were doing. Nice guys, moved everything very, very quickly from the old place to the new place and took care of it all. And it definitely helped the experience overall. So once they did that, when that day was set up, that rest of the day we were just kind of unpacking, kind of figuring out where we wanted everything. Like I mentioned before, a little bit less storage at this place, so it was a matter of like figuring out, well, the stuff that we did have in like a closet or a garage, where do we put that now, because we don't have those. So it's been a fun game of figuring out where all that stuff kind of goes. In different areas though, like our kitchen, for example, there are so many cabinets in that kitchen. I think we still have a few that are empty, but it's nice to have the flexibility there where it's not jamming everything into a specific cupboard or anything like that. So it's really nice, the setup that we do have now. Nothing that was wrong with obviously the original apartment. But yeah, we're slowly getting more attuned, I guess, with this apartment and it feeling more like a home. So the move went great, and during that time wasn't doing any streaming, and then I decided to take another week off just to kind of take a moment to catch my breath and relax and take some time for myself. I know we haven't been, I would say, pushing it hard on the streams, but it just was getting back in that mindset, as with the move along with some other stuff, which I'll talk about, it just felt like go, 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 go. So along with the move, work's been fun. Honestly, it hasn't been that bad. I'm really enjoying work. I love working there, and it's weird. It's not this honeymoon phase, but the tasks that I'm doing at work, I really enjoy doing. It's more of a constant thing compared to the previous job, which I loved it there too. It was just things kind of felt like they took a while to do, which they did. And here things are more constant. We're moving around and tasks are being done consistently where you see the progress that you're making throughout the day. But anyways, it's technically our busy season at work right now. So obviously we're getting a lot more orders and a lot more foot traffic of things to do and things to get out and the product and stuff like that. So it's been a little bit more hectic there, like not in a bad way, just things we're doing. So my personal schedule for work has shifted, as in my hours have changed a little bit. So we've been doing that, and we're also picking up some weekend hours just because the amount of orders are huge. Well, not huge, but they're more than normal for the rest of the year. So the more time we can work on those and get them out, the better. So we had that going on. It's still going on, and that will continue for the rest of the summer. And then the last thing to have on top of this, we had a kind of a family get-together this past weekend, which was a lot of fun and was a blast. My parents hosted it, and they did fantastic. And it was just some relatives. We're all getting together, and some relatives from out of state were coming up. So we haven't seen them since pre-COVID, definitely, but maybe even farther or a longer gap than just the 2-year, 3-year span of that has been. So it was good to catch up with them, see everybody, and for me personally, this was kind of like the first time I've seen a lot of them, even like the local relatives. That sounds weird to say. Since obviously the pandemic started. So catching up with everybody and seeing them, especially seeing like the younger relatives who were kids and now they're teenagers, and seeing them after a few years, like, whoa. But it was a blast, a lot of fun to get the chance to hang out. It was just another thing that was added to the schedule, and it felt like, especially in this past 2-week span, like it was go, go, go and non-stop, which I was all for it. Like I said, it was a great time. I'm really glad. It just took a toll. Not took a toll like in a bad way, but yeah, I was a little tired. So I wanted to make sure last week when podcast did come up, I was like, nah, I have my topics, but I don't know if I'm in the right mindset for this. So I decided to take, a little bit more time, recoup, figure out what you want to do here, and then proceed after that. So that's where I've been stream-wise and what's been going on life-wise. But it's all good. Things are great. I think, I'm excited for the remainder of the summer with work and how things are going on. A little behind-the-scenes stuff. Extra Life. Normally do Extra Life, our charity live stream in November. I had talked about it here and there, and I might have even talked about it in the podcast, about doing a summer event. And while I wanted that to happen, I think I've finally kind of hit the point where I'm not sure if I can do it this year. And it's not that it's difficult to, for example, set up the games and, find people to play, but I want to make this something special, as for, obviously the rest of the Extra Life streams. And I want to do a little bit more of a production value behind it and kind of put my time and effort into that, see if I can do it well. And with the timing of everything, I don't know if I can do it effectively enough or efficiently enough of how I want to achieve it. Now, things could change. Maybe my motivations will swing the other way, and it won't be like, I can't get all these projects done before then, let's just do it. Who knows? But at the moment, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it's time, just more appropriate to put the effort towards the November one, put the focus there instead of the August one. But we'll see. That's been another thing I've been thinking about a lot. And speaking of games, segue. What have I been playing during the hiatus? So since setting up at the new place, I've had a little bit more free time, especially once again with a shifted work schedule. Lady and I, she's still on the regular schedule. I'm a little bit later. So it gives me a little bit time to, burn the midnight oil. No. Wow. Old timer. Bringing that out. Gives a little bit more free time during the evenings to kind of dive into games and play those. So I've played a few since last we talked. And to start off, I've been playing a replay, actually, of Infamous Second Son. I'm trying to work through my backlog, and not necessarily that this is a game I haven't completed. If you've been with us for the stream for a long time, you'll know I've streamed all the Infamous titles way back when. I think it was 5 years ago when I played Infamous Second Son on stream, and I had a fun time with it. And with replaying it now, it's been more of like, want to chase after the platinum. Let's see if we can get all the trophies. And it doesn't seem too hard. There is, for the live stream when I did play it, I did all good karma stuff, which typically is just how I would play it normally. So it was just a matter of collectibles this time, this run around, and then the evil karma stuff. There is one trophy to kind of defeat it or beat the game on the hard difficulty, or maybe there's another terminology that they do use for it. That one will be a little bit more difficult. I'll have to see if I'm tearing my hair out. But as for the story mode, it doesn't seem too long. So as long as you kind of streamline those things, maybe not worry about the collectibles obviously so much and the side quests, that might be something a little bit more attainable just because of obviously the amount of time. It shouldn't take super duper long to do the run through again at that difficulty. I already plan on looking up some walkthroughs or at least some tips and tricks to see how I can make this experience a little bit more palatable and a good time for me there. But I've been playing through Infamous Second Son again. Story was decent when we did originally play it back in the day. The main character, Delsin, I don't think is as relatable as a Cole from Infamous 1 and 2, or likable maybe. Delsin's kind of a dick, and his brother, Reggie, I feel like he's more likable than Delsin is. So there's that. So the story's been kind of on this replay. Honestly, it's just been kind of play and go, more zone out experience with it. But as for the gameplay and how everything in there works with the powers, the different power sets that you do get throughout the game, the smoke, the neon. I just got the video type powers, I think they're what they're called, and I think eventually you get the concrete. But messing around with those different power sets and move sets has been great, and flying around the city, the Seattle, Washington area, has been fun. So that experience gameplay wise has been fantastic, and playing it through the PlayStation 5 through the PS4 disc, like, loading times are cut down significantly and everything runs very, very smoothly. So it's been a great experience overall. Nice to kind of revisit it and go back to it, and yeah, it's just been a fun time overall. So we're chasing that platinum. Alongside that, I'm a little slacking on my Horizon Zero Dawn playthrough, or replay rather. I think I got to like the halfway, 3/4 point. So I'm almost at the end. But when I streamed Horizon, once again, maybe 5 years ago, I was very invested in the story, and I kind of just went and streamlined, like golden path that thing without even realizing it, and didn't explore the world all that much, didn't tackle the different robots and beasts and animals that are there. So with this replay that I was doing prior to the move and all that jazz, I was making sure, like, here's my open world, I'm going to hit everything, and I'm, once again, platinum trophy, I'm going to go after that. It's been a little while since I played Horizon Zero Dawn. I was trying to replay it to head into Forbidden West, because after streaming a little bit of Forbidden West, I was like, I don't remember shit of the story. So have to hop back into that, but was making decent progress there. Another game that I've been playing, not story related, is Multiverses, a little free-to-play game from Warner Brothers. I don't know what exact studio it is, but from WB. And if you don't know what Multiverses is, it's essentially a Smash Bros, not a clone, but essentially that type of gameplay. Brawler, 2 to 4 players on a screen, you're beating each other up, try and hit the players off the screen, and it's random WB characters. So you have Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, you have Steven Universe, Rick and Morty are coming out in Season 1, Harley Quinn's in there, Superman, Batman, Jake and Finn from Adventure Time, and more. And it's free to play. Decided to give it a try. It's not fully launched yet. It's going to be launching as a recording, I believe, tomorrow or Tuesday, or at least that's when this preseason ends. I know at EVO, also dating our recording here, EVO, they announced Season 1. That's where Rick and Morty are going to be released, along with ranked mode and new costumes and arenas and blah, blah, blah. It's been a blast playing this game, to be honest. I definitely recommend everybody tries it out if you like that kind of genre, whether it's fighting games or just the Smash content. It is free to play, once again. I'm going to keep saying that. It's been a fun time. Characters, at least the ones I've played, Wonder Woman and Harley, pretty simple. 2 attack buttons. You have your jump, you have your dodge. There's no like supers or ultimates. It's just kind of dumb fun. It's similar in a way to the Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawler, which was fun for a while. I haven't dove back into that since they added Hugh Neutron, Jimmy Neutron's dad for some reason, Jenny from My Teenage Robot, or I'm a Teenage Robot, whatever that show was, and I think there was one more character in this first DLC, but I haven't played it in a while, but that was also just dumb fun. And this one is just entertaining. The Battle Pass for that, or at least the preseason Battle Pass, has some cool rewards, and the challenges that they do provide each day, as well as seasonal challenges, are pretty attainable. Like, there are some a little bit more difficult ones, but it does make it enticing seeing that you are progressing, obviously, with your knowledge of the character, as well as accomplishing these feats, whether it's daily, whether it's seasonally, whatever it might be. With it being free to play, there are going to be hella microtransactions, so just a heads up there. They have a few different currencies that they provide in the game. So you have your gold, you have your toast, and you have your, I believe it's called gleamium or gleam. And what those do for you how the game works, because it's free to play, the roster is not fully unlocked for you. At least in my experience, I don't know if it's the same for everybody. You start with your tutorial. Learn how to play. You play as Shaggy, and by completing the tutorial, you will unlock your first character. For me, it was Wonder Woman. Once again, don't know if that's the same for everybody. So you get Wonder Woman for free. The rest of the roster is locked, except for a few characters which are kind of in like a rotation and are free to play during that like week or two, whatever the rotation may be. So it's very similar to back in the day on Xbox One of Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was the same way. It was another free to play one, and you could either pay individually for characters, or if you just wanted to outright buy the game, which you can do also here with Multiverses, you could get all of the characters in the roster available to you. So with the free characters, obviously you get that rotation of deciding, do I want to try the character out? Do I like them? Do I not like them? So the decision is really up to you of whether you're going to spend your real world money on the game or not. Like I mentioned before, there are bundles or purchases where you could unlock the roster entirely. At the moment, I believe there are 3 different versions of the Founders Pack at different various prices. I believe the first one's like $30 to $40, and then the most expensive one is $100. You get different in-game currencies, including character tickets, which like instantly unlock certain members of the roster, whoever you use the ticket on. So you could do that. For me, personally, I haven't spent... Okay, that's a lie. I've spent $5 on this game so far for the preseason Battle Pass thing. But other than that, I have not spent anything. So with the first set of challenges, I built up gold, and you use the gold, at least for right now in the pre-launch, use that for the characters. Prices are at 1,500 gold, 2,000 gold, and 3,000 gold. How they decided what character is worth what gold amount, I don't know, but you can use that to buy the characters. You do that if you first launch the game through 6 challenges of like tutorial stuff that will essentially cover the cost of one character, and then from there it's simply playing. You get gold if you win, you get gold if you lose, you get gold if you play with friends, and obviously gradually over time you can earn that to unlock the stuff that you want to. So that's what the gold is used for. The toasts are an interesting currency, and they are essentially just kind of giving a thumbs up to players that you played against, whether it's your team or played with, whether it's your team members or it's players that you played against. You can decide to toast a player if you have them, gives them some extra gold. If you get toasted, you get 20 gold or so per toast you receive. So just a kind of a nice way to send the good vibes, say it was a good game to other players. They're not unlimited. You do earn them pretty fast, pretty quickly, whether it's leveling up your characters or leveling up the battle pass, but that's your second currency. The Gleamium is the real world stuff. This is like your V-Bucks in Fortnite, or what's the show money, the show bucks in Fall Guys. This is the real world money where you can use your Gleamium, whatever it is, to buy the battle passes, buy alternate skins, and maybe jump ahead in battle pass level if you really wanted to. You do earn it, but it's mainly going to be like a cosmetic thing, I feel. And as of right now, they do have 1 alternate costume per character. A little on the expensive side, but it is a free-to-play game. That's how they're going to get you, the microtransactions. I think right now, for Harley Quinn, for example, I think her alternate costume is her like classic black and red Jester outfit. I think for that you need 1,500 Gleamium, which is about $15. Whew! So $15 for an outfit. Yeah, that sounds a little bit up there. I get it. So either, if you want to spend that money, good on you. If you want to support the developers, you really enjoy the game, you go for it. I can't say I can't be a hypocrite and say I haven't done that with Fortnite. Like, oh, there's a skin? Yeah, sure, I love it, Do what you want. If you're comfortable with it, you pay what you want to pay. But if you do not want to, you do not have to get these rewards. It just will take some time. You can earn Gleamium once again from either the Battle Pass or you're leveling up. It will just take some more time. So, no panic there. Just know, play the game, get the rewards. Like old school Knockables, which I personally love in games. Is the game fun? That's the first thing I want. Great. Is there something I can work towards and achieve? Then you got me. If it's fun and there's nothing to chase after, it's like, okay, it can lose me quick. And then, you have the unlockables, but it's not fun to play. Well, duh, I'm not going to spend my time on it. So I think Multiverses is a great time. I've played a couple hours here and there, mostly solo. Shout out to Genghis. Played some matches with Genghis a few days ago, and we were doing okay. We got the Team Harley over there. But it was a fun time playing with him. Looking forward to doing some more matches with him. I know Tarma's been playing it a lot as Rhine Dog or whatever that character is. I know he's in love with them. It's just been a fun time. Definitely recommend people check it out. Something with it being the preseason, there are some things that I haven't seen yet. It seems like they will have a store available at launch, potentially for more cosmetics, maybe some perks that you can buy to kind of modify your characters a little bit. I don't know what currency they'll be using for that, whether that will be the gold or if it will be the Gleamium stuff. Hopefully they do have some cosmetics that aren't tied to that. As for costumes, I think in the first season Battle Pass that they have shown, they showed Bugs in the gladiator opera singer outfit he had in the cartoons here and there, as well as I think there was one more. Oh, was LeBron dressed as Robin for some reason? Yes, LeBron James is in this game from Space Jam. I'll admit he's kind of funny in the game. So there's those two costumes. There may be more. I know in this preseason Battle Pass, if you get to max level, you can unlock Adventure Time skins. You can get Finn in a set of pajamas, and you can get Jake as an alternate skin as a cat named Cake. I don't know. They look nice. So you have that. It's been a fun time playing that. Looking forward to playing more Multiverses. Good time there. Another game that we've been playing as of yesterday from start to finish, Lady and I played through Stray all the way through. Talked about it on stream a little bit. I was looking forward to Stray. I believe it's free to PlayStation users if you're on the PlayStation Plus Extra tier. Otherwise, buy it. Indie game. But it was a solid experience. I'm not going to talk too much about story and stuff like that because I don't want to spoil it. But fun experience. How they set it up and the story that they're trying to tell. I'll just say something sad happens at the beginning, and then it's the events of you as a stray cat going through and kind of resolving that issue that had happened. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what Stray is, yes, you are a little orange tabby cat this whole game, and you are exploring this robotic city, doing some platforming, solving some puzzles, and progressing yourself through this story, this narrative that the developers at Annapurna are trying to tell. Sounds weird when you kind of just sell it as, oh, you're a cat. I definitely understand how that sounds weird, but it's a fun experience. I believe Lady and I beat it in about 7 hours, a little bit less. Fun time there. She pretty much played it all the way through, and I was kind of there for the ride. But it was a fun time. Story was great. The puzzles weren't too challenging, but they were not difficult enough. What's the word? They were creative enough that sometimes you kind of had to take a second and kind of figure it out. The enemies that they do have in the game are a bit challenging at times, as you kind of have to stealth around for those puzzle portions, but nothing felt impossible, which is nice. So Stray was a fun experience. I'm looking forward to going back myself and tackling the platinum. Speaking of platinums, not too difficult of one. There is one trophy that is kind of tied into a speed run where you have to complete the game in 2 hours. that one might be a little rough. That one you'll definitely have to look up a guide. As for the rest, there are some very silly ones as of things you could do as a cat. Some very simple things of cat behavior. And some very hilarious things that you can kind of do by interacting with the characters that you will find in this world. So it was a fun experience. We both had a great time with it. Something fun to do together. So Stray was a great time. Is there anything else that I've been playing? Been playing a little Fall Guys here and there, just dropping in for a match or two. Nothing too serious. Talked about Horizon, picking that back up. I'm trying to figure out what story game I want to play next. Getting back into streaming. This may be just because, shout out to the Trophy Room podcast, a PlayStation podcast, and Joe and Kyle, and hearing their conversations, but I'm getting the itch to try out Elden Ring or go back to Sekiro. We'll have to see. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's something they've said where, like, if you're thinking about the game when you're not playing the game, then it's probably a sign that you should be playing it or you're having a good time. So kind of getting the itch to try or re-experience Sekiro, try and make that to the end, and then also Elden Ring, because obviously everybody's been talking about Elden Ring this year, potential Game of the Year candidate, so I'd like to be kind of in the know, or at least have a little bit of experience going into the end of the year talks. I know we still have a while or a few months until that, but those are crossing my brain right now. I'm really looking forward to get back into Returnal. That's another game I've been constantly thinking about. We had a few streams of it, and it was a lot of fun to play that game. I got to the second biome. I haven't been able to beat that boss yet, but looking forward to jumping back into that. And then as for new games, Cult of the Lamb is as of recording, it's out this Thursday, and I am so excited to play this game. There are stream plans for that, so excited to share that experience with everybody of Cult of the Lamb. Go through that kind of dungeon crawler, roguelite, Stardew Valley, farming sim, taking care of a cult and all the followers, and figure out what the hell's going on with this game. I've seen some people on Twitch who have gotten early access to it. I personally haven't watched any footage, but cool to see those creators have that available to them, as well as Twitch and Cult of the Lamb kind of working together, Devolver Digital, doing some Twitch integration. So as for stream-wise, I have it already pre-ordered for PlayStation 5, playing it on there, because trophies, but I may have to kind of support this game a little farther, see how it goes, and maybe go the PC route so Twitch chat can get involved with that and we can have some fun. The Twitch integrations that I have seen seem to be entertaining. Twitch chat can kind of help you or cause things to happen in your game, whether you're healing the followers or maybe they make people sick. But then also there's raffles whenever you find a new cult follower. And in the base game, when I played the demo, if you find a new follower, you can kind of customize how they look, what animal they are, and their, I don't know about personalities, but you can customize the appearance of your followers. So with the Twitch integration, you can do a raffle, and if the participants win the raffle, then they essentially customize the follower for you that will join your cult. So that was cute. That seems like a fun way to kind of get everybody involved. So looking forward to diving into that, seeing what everybody thinks of that game. And yeah, just looking forward to more streams and getting back on the flow and the swing of things in general, now that we're fully settled here. And yeah, it's been hectic in the best way possible these past few weeks. So looking forward to things kind of smoothing out and being smooth sailing from this point. But it's been a blast. And I appreciate you guys, hanging out here and being patient with me. And hopefully you're looking forward to the future as I am. Moving on to topic 2, let's talk some wrestling, because who doesn't love wrestling talk? Well, maybe some of you do, but I do. If you haven't been caught up in WWE stuff, a lot of things have changed recently. Vince McMahon's a piece of shit. We already knew that. Who would have thought? allegedly, nothing, the hammer hasn't hit him.
I believe it.
Yeah, reason to believe, yes. Vince McMahon not doing great stuff. Once again, hasn't fully been called, but a lot of signs pointing towards it. Anyways, he's out of WWE. He has retired, quote unquote. And he's no longer there. So now, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon have taken over. Steph is kind of doing the CEO stuff and the higher up, I guess, office work, you could say. As Trips has reassumed his role as, not EVP, but something along those lines. He's head of creative now and talent relations. And boy, oh boy, does this make me very excited. And we're already seeing the changes and kind of seeing what he's doing for the programming, already being in charge. So, SummerSlam wasn't too long ago. I believe it was not last Saturday, but the Saturday prior. SummerSlam was solid. Matches were pretty good. I feel like they were able to get a little bit more time with their matches. I'll talk about SummerSlam's presentation in a little bit. But as for seeing the changes already, there wasn't too much that had changed, I feel, in terms of SummerSlam. Like, obviously the matches still happened how they were. And they kind of closed the book on those stories nicely, kind of wrapped things up in a nice neat bow, and it was kind of more of not modification, but like, how can we make this the smoothest and best transition from the Vince era to now the Triple H era before we kind of go balls to the wall and Triple H has, full control here and we can figure out what path he wants to take. SummerSlam was good. We did get our first surprise of the night, or rather our biggest surprise of the night, as after our first opening match, Bianca and Becky going for the women's title. Bianca retained. Those two ladies did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, Becky did get her shoulder separated during the match, but she crushed it and finished the match herself. I believe she's going to be out for a little while because of that injury. But after the match, we got a big return. We got Bayley making a return after a little bit more than a year, I believe she's been out and away. Great to see her back and back into, obviously the rotation of the women's roster. But then it started, people. Dakota Kai making a return to WWE on the main roster. So awesome to see. Her hair looks fantastic. This girl can't do anything wrong with her hair. She's just, I don't know. She's one of those people, you can do anything to her hair and looks great. She's got the pink, the white, the black, all works together. She's back, main roster debut after not re-signing her contract, and it ran out naturally from NXT. Trips being back, whoop, let's get her back in. And then we get Io Shirai, also on the main roster. Also making a contract extension after and re-signing after rumors were going about like, oh, she's going back to Japan. Things, ended. Cool to see her there. The music stayed. Thank God. Her name changed, which is weird. But I know they were changing everybody's names because I guess legal reasons. So now she's Io Sky. It's going to take me a minute. But great to see these two ladies back. Fully with the program and obviously making their main roster debuts. The Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam, the three did make a little bit of a statement, beating up a few of the ladies on the roster. We have the women's tag team tournament finally for the tag titles starting next Monday, so obviously they will be involved in that. I have. It's probably a safe bet that they're either Io and Dakota will walk away with the titles, unless rumors are true that Naomi and Sasha are going to make the returns, which also glad that Triple H has mended those fences and bridges after them walking out after mistreatment of the women's tag division. I know people have, mixed reactions on that whole incident, but personally, I'm glad good things if that is true and the rumors are true and they do make the return, glad that those bridges have been mended and relationships are great there. So anyways, cool to see those two at SummerSlam. Excited to see what the future holds for them and how they're handled. I know Io, obviously, since making her character change from the Genius of the Sky to this more punk rock gritty Io that we have seen in the past years, she's blown up in popularity. And then Dakota's been this kind of this mixed bag. I know she had a few injuries in her time in NXT. I don't think we've fully pulled the trigger on her yet. She had a good thing going with Raquel Gonzalez, now Raquel Rodriguez, I believe, on the main roster. Had a good thing going there, but she never won the big one, never won the NXT women's title. She was kind of always around and a reliable source, but once again, like I said, we never fully pushed her. So I'm excited to see what is to become of her down the road. So for SummerSlam, that was probably the big surprise. We also did get the return of Edge, kind of in this weird, like, further Brood gimmick callback. I believe he does have the Metalingus theme back, as he made an appearance on Monday Night Raw the next night. Cool to see him back. He's feuding with Judgment Day, formerly his Judgment Day, but now Finn Balor's Judgment Day. But he's also just out for himself. He was helping out the Mysterios, kinda, just because Judgment Day and them are feuding. Did spear Dominic on accident. It was an accident. Last week, so we'll have to see how that plays out going forward. Cool to see him back. Hopefully we can get him in some kind of storyline that he is invested in. I guess he left Judgment Day because of creative differences and they wanted to go more supernatural with the cause, which is fine. I like the group of Damian, Rhea, and Finn. I think that works as long as, we have faith in them and we're not constantly pushing it, but we're investing time into it, which it seems they are. I'm all for it. 3 great talents. They need something to do. Obviously, Damian Priest was working with Bad Bunny. He was pushed popularity-wise there, just being in that scene, keeping him available or around and not just dropping him out of thin air after the Bad Bunny stuff into the U.S. title stuff into now this is great. And then Rhea has been in this weird kind of cycle from obviously being super over in NXT to the WrestleMania main event or match was Charlotte, which that result, but then the WrestleMania match once again was Charlotte, getting redemption there. Was it Charlotte? I think it was. Into this weird tag team with Nikki ASH and then a tag team again with Liv Morgan. Now this seems to be a little bit more fitting for her. So hopefully we can keep going there. And then Finn, obviously, him having a story, great. Obviously, with his NXT return, going against Gargano and Adam Cole during the, I think it was just before the pandemic. That was good stuff for him. He's had a little bit shaky of main roster stuff since his Universal title win and unfortunate injury there. But glad to see he's doing stuff here. Great. Okay, the only downfall, I would say, from SummerSlam, before we fully leave this conversation of SummerSlam. So Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle are supposed to have a match, right? Okay, great. Riddle gets injured. Apparently this is a kayfabe injury. Not real. And they call off the match. Okay. So then Seth goes on Twitter. He's like, I don't have an opponent for SummerSlam. I'm so sorry for everybody who spent their hard-earned money on a ticket for me. Blah, blah, blah. Doing the heel head so far up his ass thing, which he does great. Good for him. Triple H replies to him, or something, and says, not verbatim, I got you, fam. So everybody's like, oh, it's going to be WrestleMania all over again. He's got a mystery opponent. Obviously, it's not Cody Rhodes. He ripped his pec off. So who is it going to be? Is it Johnny Gargano? Ah! And what do? We're at SummerSlam. Riddle comes out. Bitch, bitch, bitch. Moan, moan, moan. I like Riddle. I'm just being dramatic here. Comes out here, does a promo. Seth comes out, swaggers in his suit. Everybody in the back, part of management, is like, no, don't fight. You're going to hurt him farther. Blah, blah. Seth beats the shit out of him. injures him farther, and we don't get a match. So that was a little disappointing, just after all the hype of like, oh, is there going to be a fill-in opponent? Obviously, Gargano's fantastic. We'll talk about more him later. That kind of fell flat. As for the rest of the night, good matches. I know people hate Theory. I love Theory. Theory's doing great there. Attempted cash in on Roman and Brock. Didn't fully cash in the briefcase, so he still has it. Brock and Roman doing surprisingly a great, well, maybe not great job, an entertaining job of the last man standing match. Hopefully it's the last fucking time we see this match, because I'm sick of it. Roman retains after his sweet mic catch from Brock and a little wink. Good stuff there. Moving on. So Triple H in charge. Monday Night Raw. Already talked about Bayley's squad beating up the women's roster. Cool stuff there. Monday Night Raw, I don't think we got any other big stuff. We got a U.S. title tournament for like a qualifier. So we got 2 triple threats, and then the triple threat winners would go against Bobby Lashley this coming Monday, as of recording. Triple threats look good. From the clips I saw, I can't watch anymore because I don't have cable. R.I.P. The matches look good. It seems like the wrestlers got a little bit more freedom in what they were able to do, at least in the sequences that they did provide. The finish of the first triple threat, we saw a great combination from Mustafa Ali doing his 450 onto The Miz, and then after rolling out of the 450, kind of recovering, getting caught by AJ Styles, getting the Styles Clash delivered to him and on The Miz, and then AJ picking up the win. That was just a cool sequence. Great to see that. Hopefully we'll see more of it. And then the second triple threat, Tommaso Ciampa picking up the win there. Another NXT guy. Hey! Or former. Cool to see that. Tommaso wins the number 1 contendership later in the night from AJ. So he's going to fight Lashley for the U.S. title tomorrow. Do I think Ciampa's going to win? Maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of Lashley, but I'm fine with him having the U.S. title, and I think that's okay for him. I'd like Ciampa to win selfishly, but I could also see this, as a lot of people also are like, with the Gargano thing. When's Gargano coming back? Because he hasn't signed anywhere. This also could be a way to set up a DIY either return or Gargano showing up. Ciampa loses. Obviously, he's in this weird relationship with The Miz right now as his kind of heater, bodyguard, whatever. Ciampa loses. Miz is upset. Miz turns on him. Either Gargano makes the save or something. And then Gargano comes back here. I mean, it makes sense. Gargano and Ciampa obviously feud a long time in NXT, as we saw numerous matches. I know some people are kind of burned out of that at the moment. I'd love to see it just because Johnny Wrestling will be back on WWE. I don't know why. I love AEW, but selfishly, I'm like, yeah! Like, everything. I want it back. Black and gold brand. Bring back the NXT guys. Let's go. People on WWE. I don't know. I want them to succeed. Sounds weird because they obviously are still the top dog in wrestling, but I think I just want WWE to be good again. Not that they obviously didn't have their glimpses of good in the past couple of years, but as a lot of us know, wrestling community-wise, it's been rough. Another reason why we're like, hey, Vince is out of creative. Finally, the 70-year-old man is out. Maybe we can get some fresh ideas. Yeah, I don't know. I want things to be exciting over there, because obviously if WWE is doing really well and is exciting, and AEW is really exciting and doing good things, and Impact and New Japan, like, competition just makes everybody better. And, you have to try new things and really push the envelope. And it didn't feel like WWE was doing that during Vince's time, and AEW's, like, kind of, not resurgence, because that's a return, but growth period. Like, everybody was like, oh, AEW's great, which it was. And now we're starting to see a little bit of, not the cracks, but some things like, AEW. It's lost its fire. The the honeymoon phase is kind of burnt out there. So this will have everybody push, hopefully, to better and better product overall. So anyways, I want Gargano here, selfishly. So that could set that up tomorrow. We'll have to see. What else is going on? Let's talk about SmackDown, shall we? So, SmackDown, nothing big standout wise. We still do have the Maximum Models going in there. Max Dupree, still involved with that. A little upsetting to see there, but he is committing to this new character, so that's good. He's very charismatic, so he's pulling it off. I feel it's a shame, from a selfish standpoint, that he's not going back to the LA Knight character, but whatever. The big surprise and the big oh boy moment is when we get another return as Karrion Kross and Scarlett are going to return to the main roster, not in a gladiator outfit, and Kross is going to send a big message to Roman Reigns and to Drew McIntyre, as he's going to jump Drew, beat him up, and then Scarlett and him are going to leave a little hourglass for Roman. Great to see. Good pickup. Obviously, we knew Triple H was high on Kross and Scarlett, as he pretty much immediately made Kross NXT champion. Unfortunately, an injury there with his shoulder. He had to relinquish that title, eventually making his return, getting the title once again, before going to the main roster and that whole sequence of events. So great to see him here. Now we can build him in what we were doing in the black and gold brand of NXT, and not this gladiator thing. Hopefully, WWE audiences, short-term memory, hopefully that can be a thing, at least for forgetting the gladiator character, and we can move forward. Great to see Kross back. So now the question arises, who else is going to come back? I already kind of talked about it, like the NXT Black and Gold brand. Obviously, love that time period, seeing its evolution from, the Bo Dallas and Neville and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, like the early stages there, along with obviously the Four Horsewomen. Seeing the evolution from that time as a fan, personally watching week to week, to eventually Finn showing up, and Shinsuke and Samoa Joe and American Alpha and FTR, Revival. All the evolution from then to, unfortunately, NXT 2.0. I want to see the talents that I saw in Black and Gold get their proper shot at main roster. So, once again, great to see Dakota Kai there. Great to see, Ciampa there. Io obviously making the appearance up there as well. And we have other NXT talents that are getting a little bit more respect now that Triple H has been in charge. We see Ricochet picking up wins again and actually being Ricochet instead of just like, you're small, let's have you get thrown around a bunch. Letting Ricochet be Ricochet, letting Shotzi be Shotzi. Like, give these people that can do well, give them time, and not just this flicker of hope and then it burns out and you're kind of just there. I want to see more of that. I get it. Big rosters kind of can make that challenging from the time to time, but I'll talk about that later. For returns, who do I want to see come back with Triple H and the NXT ties? So we got Kross back. Obviously, we got Io. We got Dakota. Great. I'd like to see a Bronson Reed, a.k.a. a Jonah, make his return. I would love to see that. I know he's been doing great stuff over in Impact Wrestling. I believe he's now more focused on New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. I know he's been doing good stuff there, but selfishly, I want Bronson back. He took a little while to grow on me when he first did debut, but eventually, I believe it was the pandemic era, he was getting a big push. He got the NXT North American title, was doing good stuff there. I think did a few tryout matches on SmackDown to eventually get called up. And then it just kind of all went away. He lost the North American title shockingly to Swerve. And then shortly after that, he was gone. And it was so weird. Like, he was a good babyface. I haven't seen him as heel, so I don't know how that would translate to the WWE audience. But personally, I'd love Jonah/Bronson to be back. I want him back, and he brings something different to the table. He's an exciting big guy. Like, does he do big guy stuff? Yes, of course. but he's one that I feel invested in, if that sounds right, or if that's the right terminology. So I'd love to see him back. Selfishly, I'd love to see our Undisputed Era boys back, but that's not happening. Tony Khan said Cole's over there till 2027. But granted, if Cole's happy, and obviously Fish and O'Reilly, let them do their thing. This isn't anti-AEW, like, oh, fuck them, Triple H is back. No. Obviously, talent go where the talent feels they need, is right for them, and the more of them succeed is better. The more happier they are, once again, along with competition, improving things, the wrestlers' health and mindsets, if those are in the right spot, everything I think will be better for, in the grand scheme of things, everything will be better. So, selfishly, I'd like Adam Cole to come back, but that's not happening. I'd love for Keith Lee to make a return. I don't know his obligations, AEW-wise contracts, what his, how many years he signed over there. But if and when Keith does decide to come back, Triple H will allow him to be Keith Lee. He was the first? Was he the first joint NXT champion? Because I know Cole obviously had the NXT belt, but I don't know if he had the North American belt at a time, but I don't know if he held them together. But Keith Lee obviously was getting a major push, also pandemic era, leading into Cross coming in there, where won the NXT belt, won the North American Championship, doing really, really great, good stuff. And then he got brought up to the main roster, and it was another scenario where, for some reason, either, creative didn't believe in him, or whatever, but he wasn't himself. And I feel with, obviously, Triple H being in charge, I think he'll be able to do what he does best and just be, exciting. And just hope the best for him. Also, we had these teases of these great moments with Keith Lee, and with since his release, obviously, and his failed main roster debut, we never got those. We got teases at Survivor Series with obviously him and Roman Reigns, and those being the last two, and Roman and him worked well together, had the little fist bump at the end when unfortunately he didn't win. We had that tease. We had the tease of him and Brock, and people were freaking out at the Royal Rumble. Obviously that was the year Brock was tearing house until Drew came in and eliminated him. But we had these huge moments and huge crowd reactions, and for some reason, Vince and Co, whatever, it just didn't deliver. Yes, Keith was the first person to hold both NXT and North American at the same time. So there's a lot of faith behind him. He'd be great to come back. I'd love to see that. But, granted, time will tell there, because contracts. Who else? Who else would I like to make an appearance? I'd love for Taya Valkyrie to get a second chance. I know she's back in Impact. I think she's still Knockout Tag Champs with Decay. I know that's been her home for a while, but I feel like we didn't even give a fair shake for her being there. And I know Triple H at the time was kind of out of the picture with some health stuff, so I don't know if it was fully his decision, if Vince had taken over NXT at that time. But she was kind of there. She had this big debut as Frankie Monet, and she didn't do much. She maybe had one title match against Raquel, and then she was kind of this background player / manager for Aaliyah and one other girl I'm blanking on. I don't know. But yeah, she's obviously very talented, and they didn't do anything with her. So that was a weird one. I'd like to see her come back and maybe give her a fair shake. Who else? Why am I blanking? It's always that thing where you're like, oh, okay, let's pick some stuff, and then you just totally forget who was even there. I guess we could talk about the 2.0 stuff as I'm kind of looking up a little bit more of the roster. So what do I think is going to happen with NXT? Are we going to go fully back to the black and gold brand? Are we going to keep it 2.0? It's an interesting decision. I don't think we completely wipe the 2.0 banner. I tried it out when they first made the transition. We were still watching week-to-week NXT at that time. And for me, it personally it wasn't ticking the right boxes. I didn't think any of the characters were super interesting. There are a few standouts, don't get me wrong. It just felt different. And maybe it was also me being jaded of like, oh, this isn't the NXT I want. This isn't my NXT, blah, blah, blah. But what they've done in 2.0, kind of 50-50. Some people have hit. I think Braun Breaker's good. I think Carmelo Hayes is fantastic. Obviously, the Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, and Mandy Rhodes. They're doing great stuff over there. But then there's other things that just haven't, hit the right spots. I don't know what Legado del Fantasma's doing. Roderick Strong, are you doing anything? You took GYD, the Grizzled Young GYV. Grizzled Young Veterans. You took a great tag team in them, and now you have them being these druid dyad hocus pocus characters. What? Strange decision there. So I hope they go back. What I think going forward NXT will be, I think the best route would be a hybrid of the two. Obviously 2.0 is meant to be more of developmental. Who can we build up for the future? How can we establish people, give them characters, build their confidence, and have them go to the main roster and succeed? Obviously NXT that's been the goal since day one with the stupid talent show. That's been the main focus. And we've talked about it previously on the podcast, the success rate of our NXT superstars. A lot of, we would say as fans, misuse of call-ups, but then granted also some good ones. Obviously The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, crushed it from their NXT debuts. Granted, they weren't fully in the black and gold brand at that time when they were in NXT, but obviously big success story there. The Four Horsewomen, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, Sasha, all fantastic. Obviously have built that division, and done a lot of stuff and a lot of good there. Same with Rhea, even though we talked about the mixed, story reaction. Alexa Bliss, a fantastic one to think about. Bianca Belair, obviously crushing it right now as women's champ. So we have those talents. I'm trying to think of who else. Riddle's obviously blown up since being all part of RK Bro. Who else? Sami Zayn's been consistent. Kevin Owens has been consistent. There have been signs of good, but there's also been a lot of not so good. Obviously, we had Revival called up, or FTR. No, yeah, Revival called up. We saw the usage there. We saw, obviously, Heavy Machinery. We have this great comical tag team. Oh, no, let's split them up. Tucker's going to be a bad guy for a week. Then we'll release him. Oh, now Otis is part of Alpha Academy. Which, granted, they make it work, him and Chad Gable, but it's not what it was. It's not, American Alpha. Obviously, I know Jason Jordan has his injuries and I don't think can wrestle fully. So there's that. And Otis is not Otis. He's just, I'm a big lug, he's just there. So some things just haven't fully hit, while others, granted, have. So I think with this hybrid between the 2.0 and their building strategy, and then the black and gold in their excitement, I think and like experience, I think that's going to be a good combination going forward. The whole thing with the 2.0 brand was, we're focusing on the younger talent. Once again, this establishment, this building. But then they were also kind of just saying, like, let's start fresh. No indie wrestlers will be part of this program. Part of our next couple tryouts and waves of superstars are all going to be former athletes, like former football players or basketball players or track stars or cheerleaders or gymnasts or whatever. Which, fine, it can work. Because obviously natural athleticism, they've been working on it in a different field and they want to give it a try here. But as far as I know, I've never stepped into a ring to do wrestling. It's a whole new ball game, like, a whole new thing to learn. And if everybody's green, fresh, newbie, it's going to be rough around the edges to start. So I think with blending the two, if we can get these indie talents back involved into the programming, I think that'll help. For example, you put someone new in the ring with someone who's experienced, the experienced person can kind of control the pace, give tips as they're going, help with execution. It's not two newbies who have to communicate the entire time and really be meticulous about being careful or safe, or both are nervous and things like that. Now granted, I'm not in the ring, I'm not a wrestler, I will never claim to be that. Maybe everything's fine in the 2.0 stuff and it's not like that, but from an audience perspective, maybe this mix of experience and non-experience would help progress people forward. The experienced people obviously can share their knowledge, but then also can learn from the newer wrestler, like what's working well, what's not working well, what can I do to improve my own character, my own performances. And obviously the other person, the newer wrestler, is gaining the experience of performing, building their character, building their repertoire and moveset, and getting comfortable. It's different. Just like any practice, it's performing in front of the crowd, or you're doing it for real, is different than doing it in practice. You can do it in practice all you want, and will that help you? Yes, absolutely. But once it comes to the moment to actually perform and do it, it's a whole different ball game. Can you actually do it? And maybe if they had a partner that they can rely on with experience, maybe it would make that transition and growing period easier. So I think a blend of the two would be great. I know they still do have indie talent obviously down there, with like the final wave that did make it in, with like a Cameron Grimes, Carmelo Hayes. Obviously Mandy has experience from the main roster. Obviously Gigi Dolan, being Priscilla Kelly formerly, has experience. But I think if we invest further into that, that would be better. You could get back, speaking of returns, or kind of circling back to returns, you could get more of that NXT house or veteran staff back there. I know Regal's over in AEW. I think Regal would be a huge kind of get back for Triple H. Samoa Joe would be fantastic. I know, What Culture's talked about this in their lists, and I definitely agree with those being good pickups, but we'll have to see as they're tied to other companies at the moment. Maybe some Ring of Honor talent, if they haven't been re-signed at this moment. Maybe pick those guys up. Bring those guys over to NXT, see if they can prove themselves for the main roster, kind of make that little bit of adjustment period into the styles or performance method, whatever you want to call it. See what you can do there. So, NXT, looking forward to seeing what changes. We do have to be careful now if the main roster stuff is getting this freedom of like more interesting and exciting matches. Those things that made NXT Black and Gold like blow up and real popular. If all three shows, Raw, SmackDown, and now NXT 2.0, if they're all the same, we got to be careful that we don't burn out on it Like, if everything's the same, there's no variety. That's the thing that made the black and gold brand so popular, obviously, along with these unique and special characters, is, okay, a pay-per-view is 5 matches, and we're going to give these people time, and they're going to do exciting things, and the crowd's going to be like, whoa, really into it. And then the main roster was different. Still exciting in ways, but obviously, in-ring was a little bit different. It's a weird thing to think about business-wise. Like, oh, crap. Like, that thing performed really well from a fan perspective, but if we just give them that, they're going to get bored of it real quick. I hope that makes sense. We'll have to see how that plays out going forward, what they're doing there. What things do I hope Triple H does now that he's in charge? These returns are great. No doubt about it. Excited to see these characters back and these wrestlers back in a different element. I think I alluded to it earlier, the big rosters. I feel like we really need to commit to a roster or brand split again. And the reason I think we need to do this is this division of, these are your Monday Night Raw superstars. These are your NXT 2.0 superstars. These are your SmackDown superstars. With your roster being as giant as it is, and kind of segmenting where people are, dividing, you can invest more time into each individual roster during their show. So, for example, you have the New Day on Raw. You have Drew McIntyre, you got Finn Balor and Judgment Day, you got Roman Reigns over there, great. You in SmackDown, you got Sheamus, you got Butch, you got Seth Rollins, you know, Bianca, whatever. With them divided, more time is going to be allocated during their weekly shows to them specifically. It's not going to be, all right, we got this giant pool of talent all together. Well, who's in a storyline right now? Oh, Becky and Bianca are doing something. All right, they have to be on Raw. Oh, and they got to be on SmackDown. Like, they're taking up all the time, which obviously isn't bad for their story, because you need to build that and invest it. But with separate brands and things like that, more stories can be built, more time can be allocated and dispersed between talent, and we can build more people at the same time. I know that kind of can be a little wishy-washy. We're like, oh, Raw's the better brand. Oh, SmackDown's the better brand. And you're like, I don't feel like watching that show because it's the B show. If you build interesting stories and have interesting characters, I don't think that is an issue. It's just when the investment and the intrigue isn't there, that's where it becomes a problem. So, hopefully that happens, because I think, once again, with the time being dispersed between the talents, I think that'll help overall. Along with the brand split, I think pay-per-views, this one may be a little iffy if people like this or not. Do you go back to brand-specific pay-per-views? Like, every other month is a Raw pay-per-view, and then the opposite is a SmackDown pay-per-view. I could see where that gets a little, like, the gray area of, like, yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that. I'm not 100% on if that would be a good idea. It could be a good idea because you get 2 months in between SmackDown to SmackDown pay-per-views. So you get 8 weeks to build your stories. If you don't have a story on for a week, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to play catch up. And you can be a little bit more flexible with, like, where you're moving stories or how you're using your time per individual, per storyline, whatever it is. Also, when it does come to the pay-per-view, you get a little bit more time because it's only one show per pay-per-view. So it's not, okay, hypothetically, I have 4 main rivalries, if we're going to talk GM mode here, 4 main rivalries from Raw and 4 main rivalries from SmackDown. Okay, shit. That's 8 things that I want to pay off here, and I got to fit this in a 3-hour show. and then you kind of merge it all together. Compared to just the individual show, okay, I have 4 high-quality rivalries on SmackDown, and I have a whole pay-per-view to just do these 4. Obviously, it'd be more. You're not going to do, like, half-hour matches for each. But you see you're getting the point here. You have more time to use for 4 compared to 8. Yeah. And meshing it in there. Could be better overall, so nobody's rushed. Just a thought. But I understand, once again, the kind of... We had that in the past. I know it wasn't everybody's favorite thing. However, a plus that could come from split brands and split pay-per-views is the magic of dream matches and these moments of crossover when they happen. That used to be something cool where you would get interaction between the brands, right? When brands mattered. This whole people show up on any show whenever they want, it doesn't mean anything anymore. And I think if we create this divide between the 2 shows, between the 3 shows, when someone shows up, it's going to mean something again. And that's awesome because, especially when it comes to the big 4, a SummerSlam, a WrestleMania, what's the other SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series. I said the big 4. What was the 4th? Royal Rumble. I'm an idiot. It makes these moments more magical. Think of the Royal Rumble. Obviously, you get, 15 participants from each show. Obviously, NXT people, however you want to divide it. That's going to be like, oh, dream match, like the Keith Lee and the Brock Lesnar situation. NXT made that exciting again. Who in NXT is going to show up in the Royal Rumble? Oh shit, it's Adam Cole. Oh my god, it's Ty Dillinger and 10. We're all going to freak out. Makes those moments exciting again. Survivor Series. Remember that Survivor Series where it was 3 brand Survivor Series and we're all flipping out? Yeah, because it was awesome. Also NXT won. Great. But if you don't have this crossover, then you get the more recent Survivor Series like, 4 weeks ahead of the show. SmackDown means everything to us. Where's this loyalty coming from? Like, all of a sudden, we're best buds, and we gotta fight over the brand, even though I was on Raw 2 weeks ago, too. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Now, granted, Survivor Series has always been this weird bragging rights thing. They don't really get anything from it. But those dream match scenarios, or at least that kind of fake rivalry that they plant in between the 2 shows, I think is at least a little bit more exciting than just, yeah, you're already on the same show, or I saw you over there. Who cares? So, something that I think Triple H could do there. Lastly, and this is circling all the way back to my SummerSlam opener of this topic, is presentation. SummerSlam's presentation was iffy. And by presentation, I mean the staging. It's a big-ass arena. They've done this the past 2 SummerSlams where they have this, I don't know if it's a baseball or stadium or it's a football stadium. It's been in bigger places. Same with the Royal Rumble. I get it. You're trying to build the grandeur back up for these main pay-per-views. Right. Sell tickets, merchandise, blah, 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 advertisement, whoever. I get that. However, from a fan perspective, maybe it's just me, the presentation isn't there. And, like, it kind of sucks. So, circling back to SummerSlam, just because recency, you had the ring obviously in the center of this place. Then you have this big, long ramp walkway from your entrance. Okay, normally entrances are supposed to be fantastic. So what's your entrance look like? Oh, it's just 2 big LED panels. All right, I get it. Whatever, you can put the name on the screen, then everybody knows because we're all idiots and we don't know music. Fine. However, when you're trying to have a moment like Dakota showing up, like Io showing up, like Bayley making a return, like Edge making his return, it's so awkward. How awkward was it for Dakota and Bayley and Io to do this long walk down this walkway through this like angle, like the ramp goes this way and then kind of does an angle to get to the ring. The person standing in the ring is going to be like, what's going on? Who's that? Unless they could see the screen. And think about Jimmy way over there in the nosebleeds. He didn't come here to watch the stupid Tron up in the ceiling. Pepsi Vision. He wants to see what's going on, right?
I came to watch Pepsi.
You came to watch Pepsi Vision? Well, okay, maybe he's there too. It's a big screen. I get it. Like, if you have a stage and a presentation arena thingy, I think that makes it a little bit more exciting when somebody shows up. And don't make the ramp fucking huge. WrestleMania, I get it, but it's a straight line. At least there's a vision point here. Like, I can look, oh, there's the ring. I'm in the ring. Oh, shit, it's that guy coming back. You can make that connection. But when you have this weird angled walkway, so, like, what? I don't know. For me, it was just like, they're strutting down. It just felt weird to me. Still an exciting moment, but I felt like it could have been better had it been a more direct path from arena entrance to the ring and been a little bit more impactful of like a line of sight for people in the arena. Hey, the stage is there. That's where I'm going to look. If I hear music, shwoop, there go my eyes, but not this big mob of people. And, oh, is that the LED screen? I think that says, EO, EO Sky. Who's that? Like, what? What? I can't see. Like, I don't know. It just takes away from the moment, I feel. I've never been to a pay-per-view. I've never been to this big arena. Who knows? Maybe I'm just talking on my ass. Maybe it's all the yelling and stuff going up, directly up instead of towards the ring like the wrestlers have said in a stadium setting for sound. Who knows? But let's get stages back. Let's get that presentation back. You could still obviously do it in these bigger arenas. I get money. Duh, you're making it. But do it like a Mania, where it's a point-to-point. And make it this big stage. Doesn't mean it's as huge as WrestleMania, because obviously you want WrestleMania to feel big. It's this big yearly event. Holy shit, we're going to put so much money into it. You don't have to make it crazy like that. But make it something where it's a focal point for even just like these entrances, music performances, these surprises. Like, okay, the Royal Rumble, circling back to this. What's the point of the Royal Rumble? What's the point of the Royal Rumble, lady?
To make money.
Okay, to make money. No, it's the appearances. You count down. 10, 9, and you're like, oh shit, who's number 3?
Sorry, I was thinking of WrestleMania.
Oh, you're good. WrestleMania, yeah, money. Buku bucks. The Royal Rumble, it's about the fucking countdown and who's next coming in the ring, right? You get the countdown, and then somebody comes out. Wait. And then in a baseball stadium, at least for these last two, you get the person coming out of the dugout, and there's nothing there. Like, think of Edge's return. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't know at this point. Huge moment, for sure. And everybody freaked out because we knew Edge's music, right? But he just has to step out of this dugout and, the 20 people around that area could see him, but nobody else could. Until he goes, woo, and the pyro goes, doo, 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 you know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just cynical against the baseball stadiums. That's not a good presentation point. Like, the focal point, everybody looks, you know, this thing comes up, we're all, whoa, you know, going crazy, going nuts. I think it would help that too. What am I? Just a man just screaming out to the void. And you're listening, hopefully. Maybe you left an hour ago. Who knows? Nobody.
Only a man.
Only a man. Nobody who works there is going to listen to this and be like, oh, you know what? This guy, he's got some good points. No, they're like, fuck are you? I don't know. Just from one fan to the void, I think that would improve things. But Trips, I'm happy he's in charge. I'm excited to see the future of WWE and what things he will change going forward. Obviously, Stephanie being in charge too, seeing how she takes her role and takes the steps to improving the company. In her vision, it's just exciting times. Obviously, Vince was in charge for a very, very long time. And while there was a lot of good for what he did, a lot of bad things he did too. Probably not the greatest. So, excited to go this new direction. Excited to see the future of the company. And like I said, I'm excited for everyone to do well. The wrestlers, the different wrestling companies. You know, I want everybody to do well. If people are doing well, if people are happy and making compelling content, we're the people who win, the fans. So, I'm all for it. Ready for the exciting times. Excited to see if anything happens tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. Gargano. We'll have to see. But that's been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat if you're a subscriber over there, like Rainbow did today. Appreciate you. If you want to join in the conversation, you can do that. But if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's working out topic by topic and put is one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag add merch store. Get all your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. And we'd love you for it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for this episode. It was a lot of fun. A lot of good conversations. A lot of good talk here. Glad to be back in the swing of things. I'm liking the new setup. I'm feeling confident about it. Hopefully we can make some good content for you guys here, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the streams. Appreciate you guys hanging out today, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.